All right. Hey, Corey, thanks for stopping by for Local FM's fundraiser week.
Yeah, no problem.
I appreciate you coming in, making some time.
Yeah.
So I don't really know exactly where to start because I know you've got the band thing going on. You got Monopolized Records. You got your recording studio.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny, actually, before you showed up, and this is just pure coincidence, I walked in and there was a Right Shitty album sitting on my desk that Brandon had just discovered. I can't remember where they said they discovered it, but it was just like, hey, can you rip this CD? And just total coincidence that it was Monopolized, I think, third release.
Yeah, if you're telling me, if it's 003, then yeah.
Yeah. So that's what it says anyway. Yeah. And then I thought that was kind of a funny coincidence. And then I actually hadn't heard them before, Right Shitty, so I threw it on. I just Googled it right quick.
Yeah.
And would that have been one of the first releases you worked on as Monopolized?
Yeah, well, that would have been like super early stages. So
okay.
I think one was ER and the other. That was my first release.
Okay.
Where I was like, I'm going to do this thing. And then I think a Little You, Little Me record would have been number 2 or something. So I think they were like soon after that. And it was more or less just like people that were in the umbrella of the scene at that time.
Yeah.
So they kind of like, they moved on. Like literally moved on. Like they moved to Montreal.
Classic. Moved to Montreal.
Yeah. And then at one point, a European person put out the LP version of it, which I thought was cool, but was interesting because I don't know I never got my hands on a copy.
Okay. You just had the CD.
I helped them put out the CD, but like they, it was super DIY. It's like they were doing everything. I just helped with some back end and getting things out. And,
okay.
Yeah.
So that's almost a decade ago now, right?
Yeah, I feel like we're getting there.
What was it like getting going? Did people come to you to do the records, or were you like hunting, going to shows and like pitching bands?
That was a scenario where it was just like friends. So it was like I think they did like it was some sort of battle of the bands thing, and then they got studio time, so they recorded it, and then one of the members did some recording and then mixed it, and then they were just like looking for the final stages. So I was like, well, I'll master for you guys and help you put it out. But it wasn't some calculated it was just like consulting, more or less. It wasn't like, I don't know, like for them it was funny because, well, given the name, I remember a conversation was like they were concerned about singles and swearing in their singles.
Okay.
And it was a very funny moment of like, guys, your name.
Your name's
It doesn't matter. We're past that.
It's like that band from Ottawa, F the Facts. I think we're allowed to say fuck the facts because it's in their band name.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing. You come up with a name like that and you're just like, you kind of set yourself up for a certain situation.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's already hard enough playing in a band. I don't know how like a name, I'd never think about that stuff. But,
yeah.
Well, even other things, like I've helped out other artists where it kind of pigeonholes some of the releases. Like I've worked with Sadie Donahue, and like she put out a song called Psycho Bitch, and it's like the song itself doesn't even have any cursing in it. Yeah. But the fact that the title does, it's like, we're not getting played on CBC. Like it was like an immediate, like where before, she would get played some places. So it influences, which is kind of funny. I wouldn't think of it as a creative. Yeah. But then on the back end, it's like, oh yeah. There's like these little things that obviously today does it as matter as much? I don't know, for radio for sure. But if we're talking about like streaming, I don't think that's going to change what folks are listening to.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Streaming, not so much. But that's an interesting creative decision because, like, as the artist, you're like, maybe that's the title that fits the song perfectly, Psycho Bitch, and then you have to deal with the fact, like, oh, should I change it for the potential of...
And I'm not going to tell an artist to change. That's not my vibe. I'm not telling artists what to do. Yeah. Just trying to lift them up from that perspective. That's that classic balance between the business of it and the creative arts of it, Yeah. It's always a struggle. Yeah. That's interesting. Okay, so that's... when Monopoly started... Did it start first as a studio and recording project, or was it a label first? More or less, it was... I've been recording bands before that. The label part of it was theoretically, that was kind of like something was like printed. Okay. So the idea that it was like, I should do a label. And it was more or less like creating an umbrella of like kind of making it look more legit than it was. Okay. And that was like, at first it was just like projects I was a part of. So it was like who am I working with? Let's make it so that we look more appealing.
Yeah,
so when it shows up, it's like, oh, it's so-and-so record. And,
gotcha.
And I wasn't sure if it would work, but I remember there was one show that Little You was playing, and it was cute. We were playing with like a younger band. They're like, "You're signed. Like, how's that going?" Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, "It's me." I was like, I heard, yeah, that's it. I was like, you should start a label. Like, you should just do it.
Yeah.
But it's from a business side, like the studio, I figured I didn't want to have a bunch of businesses or names. It was just like, I just kept it as one thing.
Okay.
So it is one thing. So like in print and marketing wise, it was like the label was conceptually what started it. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, oh, I'll just call my studio Monopolized, and it will just be like a kind of a one thing. Yeah. Like one umbrella for the whole business.
Okay. That's a good idea.
So that's just being lazy, I guess. I mean, maybe not lazy, but I mean, I do have to worry about brand confusion. Yeah. That's like, obviously that can happen, but it's like Jack White does Third Man. And I think it's pretty common now in music circles that studios have extensions of other things, whether they're like doing promotions or, you know.
I mean, that's probably how it was old school too. Like way back in the 50s, like CBS Records or whatever, they all had their own studios that they'd bring their artists into.
Yeah. The idea of recording studio was like, that will make the money. Yeah. Like, what is it?
Like Capitol Records.
Capitol, studio, right? Stuff like that. Or even Sound City is a good one. Because like that was like, in that documentary, like the people that own it, they were like, we were like, look how much money they're making over at EMI, or like things like that. It was like they knew the studio could, if they have a hit record, then they'll make money. So while they weren't a part of the label, they weren't putting out records. They were still like really, really connected. Yeah. Like RCA, obviously. I mean, they're also manufacturing. We're talking a company that's like, they're giving you what to play it on. They're recording it for you.
Yeah.
Making your mic, like, you know, all of it. And,
vertically integrated.
Yeah, which was sort of kind of the mindset for DIY, because that's what naturally happens, I think, in DIY scenes. So
yeah, I guess you're right.
It just felt natural. It wasn't like trying to be it's not a big business plan. Like, like the studio is more or less like a service industry job. So
or like hospitality.
I look at it like trades. Mm-hmm. It's like that is where I'm making my money. Like music releases don't make money. Like, like they don't, you know, like you'd have to sell. No one around here is selling the units to be able to afford to do a lot. So that's like the passion project of it. And, and I have fun with it. I like doing release. I mean, I still do stuff. So it's like, the business side of it hasn't crushed it out of your life. No, I'm not jaded enough yet.
You're not jaded enough yet.
That hasn't happened. I'm trying to steer clear of that.
That can happen pretty easily.
Oh, I know a lot of people that has happened to. So it's like,
they just walk away.
It's fair. Like, which I get it. Like, it's not it's an unforgiving.
It's unforgiving. When you're trying to make money off your creativity, it can be unforgiving when the worlds don't align correctly, you know?
No.
Or at all sometimes. You're just like...
No, and I don't know. It's an outlet, and I work with a lot of people that it's like, it's quite clear that it's like, we're not recording to make a hit record.
Yeah.
Like, it is like capturing their ideas, and it's their document.
Yeah.
It's them to be able to say, like, I have a thing, I did a thing. Yeah. Like, which I think is totally fine. I think more people should do it.
Absolutely, yeah.
It feels better than thinking about, or like wishing you did the thing, or like...
Having the songs in your head, but you never get them out of your... You never put them down to get them out of your head, you know?
Yeah. So it's kind of fun. I really like working with people in that capacity. Cause, that's the fun part.
Yeah, making people... So that process sometimes, like, it must be interesting seeing someone come in with a song that's... I don't know if half finished is the way to put it, but like the song changes over the recording process.
Yeah, it really depends on the artist.
Yeah.
I've had people come in and it's... like it's a band and you're just setting up microphones or playing as a band. It's like, sweet, that's it.
Yeah.
That's what y'all sound like. If you like it, then, you know, when you're getting into like the nitty gritty, then sometimes things can take form, but not a lot. It's not a lot of the time that I'm like, we're doing big, like compositional changes. Like usually they have it ahead of time. Yeah. I recommend people demoing. That's like a big thing.
So they can critique it themselves before.
I've had those moments with artists where it's interesting socially to be like, in the middle of like someone being like, so that's what you're playing? Like, this is the first time they've like, when you're learning a song, it's pretty hard to like not only think of what you're doing in a performance.
Yep.
So I've noticed that can be a thing if it's not like super. Just hear it. Just hear it. Even in a cell phone recording will give you that's what the song sounds like. Because like the act of performing versus listening is they're a little different.
Okay. Yeah, that's a really valid point, because sometimes you might, like, I'm thinking as a bass player and the drummer, you might be just slightly off sync, or you change where your downbeats are or whatever, like to match the kick drum or whatever you're doing. Yeah, can make a huge difference.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That's cool. There's some bands that rehearse. I'm sure the drums are. What's the kick drum doing? They probably can't even hear it. If they're rehearsing loud enough, it's like drums get drowned out.
Yeah, that's right. That kind of takes me back. Yeah, that's right. The drummer's always like, I can't hear my kick drum.
Oh, yeah. They're hitting as hard as they can. I was in it, like playing in those like DIY hardcore shows. And it's just like, these are so loud.
Yeah.
And you're in the smallest room with the biggest amps. Yeah. Of course.
Smallest room, biggest amps. Loud as shit. Yeah.
So.
That's funny. That reminds me of like playing old, what's the right word, like just halls, they were just echoing like crazy, and you'd be playing like tech metal, trying to it's just a wall of noise. It's hilarious.
Oh yeah, no, they were I remember some of the shows in St. John, it was like Gothic Arches was a big spot, and it was like such a small room. Like it was like barely enough as a rehearsal space, so it's just like, so we're playing for people too, and they'd be like out in the hall, and that building was like, it's not there anymore, but it was like falling apart, and there was like the people renting were, I don't know, it was just funny. Like everyone was just like keeping to themselves, but it was a weird spot. But it was cool.
That's when it becomes more about the moment or the energy. Like it's a quality, the fidelity or audio quality might not be perfect, but the vibe is like,
it's who's there. Like, to witness something, I don't know, off the cuff, exciting or kind of weird. Like I was always playing in bands that weren't really like technically hardcore, like punk leanings, but not like, so we kind of wouldn't fit, but I always thought that was fun to try to like make yourself fit in this like,
really aggressive show, and
very aggressive show, and we're like trying to be melodic.
That's kind of funny. I can remember playing a show in I was in like a tech metalish band, kind of like metalcore, I guess, some of the songs, and we were playing a show in was it Kingston? Anyway, it was a punk show, like we got booked on a crust punk show, and like we cleared the whole room out. No one was interested in hearing a breakdown right out of the gates. It was just like 100 people in the room, 2 people in the room.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, yeah. When you get to genre specific, it can be tricky. And I like, for the band I played with a long time, Little You, Little Me, that was like always a thing with it. It's like, where do you put them? Like if we did some conference thing, it's like, all right, they're a loud band, so we get put them, we're playing with the metal band, and then we get up and it's like,
you're like playing with Anthesis.
This is like, sort of like we can fit, like we can make it. For volume we were loud. But it was still like, it was just always funny to find that spot. The comparison, I don't think we sounded like the Pixies, but you'd hear it and I was like, I got the feeling of it. It's like, oh, this is a band that's kind of just like unhinged sounding sometimes. It's like, here's this like, pop song, and then it's just like, then it's a punk song. Or then it's like some weird proggy thing for whatever reason.
Yeah, kind of like the Melvins a little bit too, maybe. Yeah, that's cool.
More people know the Pixies than Melvins, I think. But
that's cool. Yeah, the Melvins just kind of floating along there in the background forever in the last few decades.
Yeah, they're still there. Yeah, they're still doing it. Even the Pixies to a degree, they are still touring.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
So, did you get your start with Wooden Wives, or you're connected to them somehow? Am I? No, but I would have. When I started playing, when I was younger, we were playing with the Wooden Wives. They would have been the band that was like that
pretty big in the scene. Yeah.
Were the organizers around at that time too?
Well, those
same guys, right?
Pretty much, but different era.
Different era,
technically. So, like, I think organizers would have been like, your 2000 to 2010 decade, and then Wooden Wives would have started maybe earlier than that, maybe like 2008. Like, I think it's like a really like one happened and then it just molded into the other, and like organizers being more like kind of like mod garage rock, where Wooden Wives turned into like sludge. Like it was just like big band, like 7 people at one point, I think. Okay. Like just like loud.
7
and
people,
like they would drone out, and that was cool. So yeah, I was coming up in the scene with them. So that was Judd I mean, it was a big band, but like Judd Crandall and Pierre Cormier were our first like contact, I guess. Cause in my high school band, Eric Ringette, who's ER and the other guy there.
Okay.
He went to Samuel de Champlain, and Pierre was working the cafeteria, and then we got talking. Pierre and Eric got talking about music, and then so like we met them through. That was like the immediate connection. Like my brother played in a band, and like I kind of knew of the people, but then we were like, Pierre's recommended me this band, and then we got asked to play. Like we were doing like Melvin's shows, which is a spot on Canterbury.
Yeah,
it was like an old blues bar, and they were just looking to fill a Wednesday night.
Okay.
So the Wooden Wives crew were hosting it and putting on shows, and so our high school band got to go play some like Wednesday night shows.
So you're playing in the bar as a high school student?
Yeah, just like parents there, you know,
cool.
Supportive in that way, which is great. Later to find out, you know, it's like, you know, my dad's like using it as an excuse to go like hang out at a bar and go like smoke weed and hang out with Pierre. No, it was really cool, and I got to see touring bands.
Yeah, what was that like to have that world opened up at such an early age?
It was awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I think I'm such a big advocate for like all ages scene stuff. And like the only reason why I'm so dedicated, like I think a lot of people get into music and they don't get exposed or see any options. Like being, I mean, in a blue collar town, I feel like a lot of folks are just like, why would you do that? There's no money in that. And it's just like, well, that's not the everything.
Yeah.
But B, there is.
Yeah.
There is actually resources. Like there are ways to get things done. And I early on I did have people help me, like Chuck T helped me with my first grant, which like I think I was the only one in my bubble, my circle that was like, grants. Let's get grants. And like that's a big part of why our band got to do anything that we got to do. But no one until you met that person and opened things up. So I don't think people realize they mean well because they want to influence, they want to like see people do the thing. So I was very lucky where I was like welcomed at a very early age to like be in the scene and like play and then also grow that knowledge and like spread it and help and like even bring it back to Monopolize. It's like people visit and like some of these bands that I've been working with or like Something French, like I grew up with those bands.
Yeah.
So it's like cool that it's like a full circle thing for me where it's just like, yeah, these are the people that influence me that you just keep it trucking along.
Yeah.
And like hopefully people still dig it and like
I mean, it kind of proves that you can make a go at it long term, whether it pays all their bills or not, but they can keep at it for decades at a time, you know?
Yeah, and you can like, I mean, you could work a job and work all the overtime and have some extra money, but like if you're working towards a thing and it can pay, if you can sustain it, the interest, I think that's more powerful sometimes than like getting into something that is strictly for money because you don't have the, I don't know. I just grew up around so many like weird folks where it was just like salary talk. It's all it was.
Salary talk.
Yeah. It's just like constant. And I'm like, but what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, you doing anything?
Yeah.
And I've worked with people that are, you know, older and playing music and like, that's such a big part of their lives. And it's like therapeutic. And it's like, well, there's more people who should do that. I don't think you have to like give up everything, think you're going to be famous and go on these like extensive tours. Like, but it's a great outlet. So why not do it? And if you can muster up the energy to write a grant and get help pay for the process, like why not?
Yeah.
Why not do that?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Like bringing it back to like Judd and them, it was just like, and I met them through like, you know, doing local FM stuff actually too, because Judd worked for the station.
Yep.
So that was always cool. We would do, I don't know. They used to have shows at a bar that was down the hall here.
Yeah.
Live on air. But
yeah. We talk about that every once in a while, me and Brandon, but yeah, we haven't quite pulled it off. But
I think it was a lot of work. I remember Jed.
I bet.
I remember Jed running back and forth, trying to like make it sound okay in there, and then for live, like, you know, I think it was probably just one cable going from the mixer to the station.
Just an Omni mic. Well, I've had two artists, two groups. Well, one was live, one wasn't. But some people have come in and played in the room next door to us.
Yeah.
And they would just be fed into my laptop, which is sitting here beside me, and then from my laptop into the board. And it gets really hot over there, but it's kind of a fun adventure, you know. It's pretty, like, keeps you on your toes.
Yeah.
To be broadcasting live, so.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'll have to pressure you to do that sometime.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like people are feeling the pressure more and more now with, like, cell phones, I guess.
Yeah, it's true.
I used to play shows and be like, we were playing half-written songs. Like, whatever, who cares? And it's just like, now it's like...
Everything's permanent now. If someone's recording it on a phone. Yeah. But that could make it fun. One thing I've always kind of been curious about, like, you're a lefty, right, when you're playing guitar?
Yeah.
Did you discover that right away when you first started playing, or like did you have to did something feel weird because right-handed guitars are
I'm left-handed.
You're left-handed, like, so you just kind of went
purely left-handed. So it was like I knew that was going to be the case.
Okay.
I tried to pick it up. Like I said, my brother played, so that's what inspired me to pick up an instrument, because like his band's playing in the basement, but they're all righties, so it's like, well, this doesn't feel right. And I talked to folks, and I mean, there's a lot of like old school people that'd be like, just, you know, beat it out of them. Like,
there's no such thing as a left-handed.
Force yourself to play it right. And I've chatted with folks even since I was like, no, I'll just do what feels comfortable. And I've talked to people that have done the alternative, and it's like, they're like, yeah, it took me a really long time to get, because you're rewiring your brain. Yeah. Like to try to make sense of it. And I've had other people criticize, because it's funny, because like I drum too. But I drum a right-handed kid.
That was gonna be my next question.
And they're like, that doesn't make sense. And I'm like, but it makes sense to me, because my snare hand is my strum hand.
Yeah. Like, the up and down.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know.
Interesting.
Like, to me, for my brain. But I'm also like weird where I'm like, I'm left-handed, but if like I'm gonna swing a bat, right-handed. If I'm throwing a ball, it's with my right.
You throw right-handed. Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So
yeah.
I don't know. I'm not ambidextrous. I'm just that whatever that is.
Yeah.
It's just not. I'm not one or the other. So for my body, like doing a right-handed kit, it makes sense. I never felt like I had to shift it.
Okay, but with the guitars, you felt you needed a left-handed guitar. That's interesting. Yeah.
And I don't know why, but I went with it, and I obviously stuck with it, and it's fine. And
the upside down strings, was that ever a thing, or did you string it properly for a left-handed?
No, it's like when I got my first guitar was like a left-handed guitar. Okay. Yeah, I never did I can grab a right-handed guitar and I can flip all the chords in my head, and I could strum a couple chords, but no, I didn't. I'm not a lefty in that way. Not like Dick Dale, I think. Yeah, does his low E is on the bottom.
Gotcha. Yeah. There's this metal band, I think it was this way too, with the band called The Red Chord. I don't know if you know that band. It's like pretty aggressive techie metal band. But I was kind of wondering why his palm mutes would always sound a certain way. Yeah. And then I'm pretty sure that's what he does. He's like doing palm mute strumming up.
Further down. Yeah.
And it just sounds it just adds this strange little tone to all their music that I didn't pick up on. It just sounded different, and then I figured I was like, oh, okay, he's doing upstrokes the whole time. Yeah. Instead of palming down. So it's just kind of neat.
Yeah, that would be a trip. I definitely don't.
Yeah. It just sounds neat, but...
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. There's a lot of old guitar players that are like lefties that are like that, where they're just playing
upside down. That's probably Jimi Hendrix, right? He did that?
No. Well, I think there's a difference between like you're playing a guitar upside down versus playing it up. Like you're playing the guitar upside down, but with the strings like low E
properly
to high E.
Strung, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Versus doing
fully upside down.
Yeah.
Okay. The Red Chord guy would do the fully upside down.
Yeah, he could grab a right-handed guitar and just play the songs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I did have an experience with that, because we were playing shows in Little U was in Europe, and some of our luggage got lost. So
bummer.
I was like, we're
luggage being like your guitar and
my
stuff?
Guitar,
oh, that's
which is like that was like one of the things I was like,
yeah.
So we landed, and there was the place we were playing. I was like, hey, we're ready to show up. It's like, we lost our luggage. If you guys had any spare instruments, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw a curveball at you, though. I was like, I'm lefty. I mean, they were the sweetest because they flipped a guitar. Like, nice. He was just like, yeah. So I played like Hendrix style, where it's just like an upside down Strat.
Wow.
It felt awful.
It
like,
felt weird.
The intonation was like very terrible.
Okay.
But because it wasn't designed to be that way. But we got through those shows, and eventually I got my guitar back.
Okay, that's good. It wasn't lost forever.
No. I mean, that guitar's pretty beat up now, but
that's stressful.
Yes.
It's on a different continent, gear missing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was going to get sent back, like, because we flew out of Montreal, so it was going to get sent and left in Montreal for however long we were there.
Is that where you picked it up on the way home?
No.
Like Montreal?
No. Like, I had to call the airport like every day.
Be like, send me my stuff.
Yeah, because it kept on. Because I mean, this is also like, we are in Germany, so it's like language barriers and being like, we're on the road.
Yeah.
It's like, you can't just like put it to the airport we're at. Yeah. So I got them to send it to, it ended up lining up. We landed in Dresden and we got it in Dresden.
Okay.
And it was a huge relief, but yeah.
Trying to plan the time. Yeah. The time for the shipping. Got it. Yeah. Making it sync up.
But yeah.
That is brutal. That must have been fun though, going to Europe. Was that a pretty big tour or?
Yeah, it was about like a 2-week. We did Canada run with Motherhood back then, and then did that short run in Europe.
With Motherhood as well?
Nope.
Okay.
Oh, it was just the Canadian one with Motherhood.
Okay.
And then we went to Europe right after. So it was just kind of like blocking out a pretty extensive period. So we were gone for like 2 months.
Oh, cool. Nice. Man, Motherhood are awesome.
Yeah.
They just put out a new record.
Yes, they did.
Yeah. Thunder Perfect Mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't they just play here?
They did.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just played a show with customer service and
cool.
Dark Trees and Dab Patrol.
Nice. Dab Patrol's wicked too.
Yeah.
Man, there's tons of great music happening right now.
Yeah.
I guess there probably always has been, but just like what's being put out right now.
Oh yeah. I've always thought so. I mean, there could always use more bands. So.
Yeah. Anyone who wants to get going.
Need younger folks playing music.
Yeah, well, that's kind of where you mentioned all ages. That's why all ages is so important, right? Bringing people into the fold.
Yeah, a lot of people talk about that. I mean, I was also a part of like doing Quality Block Party, which is a music festival in St. John for a period. Pandemic kind of squashed it. But yeah, it was me, Peter, Abigail, Cole Savoy, and Adam Kirsa was also in there. I mean, we had so many other people. Julia Wright was helping. We did a lot of stuff with the station during that period too.
Yeah.
So that was fun. But we noticed that it was like Taco Pico was it was like the place that we could kind of anchor. And it was all ages. So we would always make sure we were doing that stuff. And I still see some of those kids playing. So It's like, but without it, like you won't have it because they don't. I mean, yeah, if you don't feel like you have a space when you're younger, then you just don't think it exists, or you feel like you have to go move somewhere to experience it. So,
because the gap there when Taco Pico closed, and now Haven does all ages shows.
Yep.
But that was a few years, probably, right? Or?
I mean, you had the pandemic, right? So, like Taco Pico, I think closed officially like 2 weeks in the lockdowns. It was like, I guess Santos couldn't handle. I mean, a lot of businesses couldn't handle the pandemic.
It was a stressful situation.
So it was like, so that was that. And then I think a lot of us kind of like, especially in the Quality Block world, we're just like, okay, like where can we have shows? Like there was stuff that happened at the Imperial because that was the only space that could physically have shows and space people out. Like we're talking about like Imperial's doing like shows safely at that period with like, it's an 800 person room and you're fitting max like 200.
Yeah.
Like that's quite the difference where most of our shows were super DIY and they were getting pumped in like the tool library or like, in some shop. And like all of it was like kind of like just small spaces.
Yeah.
Like the idea of the festival was like putting music in places where there wasn't traditionally music because venues have always been difficult. Like, or like, there's not many. So
yeah.
I mean, still limited. I mean, Haven is obviously like I mentioned, Abigail is a part of that. Like Sydney and Abby are doing it, but that's like, I think that's a byproduct of like that festival because like of doing it and like learning from it, and then it's like, okay, now there's a place set in stone. So like, I think it's good. Like, that's fine that the festival doesn't happen anymore, and keeping some of those traditions or like some of those ideologies like forward with like all ages. Keep it going.
Yeah,
like. And I have been seeing shows where it's like there's a parent and a kid. Like when we had DOA, like how cool is that?
Yeah.
It's like an old punk and being like, hey, this is sharing that experience with their kid. Like that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's what music is. It's like, shouldn't be some weird, like feeding. I mean, what it is like feeding the liquor. Like it's for 19 plus means for drinking. So it's for liquor sales. Like culturally that obviously kind of has a shift on like how you think of it as a kid. Cause like, well, everyone knows what they felt like when they're under 19. It's like, underage is a term used constantly. Especially when you're young, you're like, I'm underage. And like, I remember sneaking into like on the boardwalk. It's like, quit programming things I want to see.
Yeah.
Like it felt so frustrating to be like,
couldn't get in.
Yeah. And like, I mean, I was lucky where I was playing some of those shows, but I was seeing indie bands. Like we're talking like those rough, you know, they're happy to show up on St. John and play to like 20 people. Like they're not coining it, but it's like, oh, those types of bands that are still like just filling in some dates on their runs to, you know, Halifax or going, or it's like a Halifax band going to like Ontario or Quebec. So yeah, I got to see those bands, which was super, super cool. But there's certain venues I couldn't really get into that was like, if I was playing. Yeah. So like basically my band just had to like get into the shows that I want to see, or is influenced by the shows that I was just asked to play and then got to see.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you don't really know who you're even going to be seeing.
No, I mean, I was going on MySpace all the time and looking up like, you know, whatever band. Like I was the kid that like I would see a show poster and be like, I mean, back then too, I think everyone was putting like MySpace on the poster or a website. MySpace, like everyone had those like early websites. So I was checking them out. So I was kind of in the know of like some of those bands that were touring through, and some of them obviously like they disappear to time. Some of them are still going. Yeah. So yeah.
MySpace is funny. They would be on CDs too. Like I bet if we looked at some of the CDs around us here, that people would have their MySpace URLs. Yeah. Right on the artwork.
Oh yeah. No, that was a thing, and I feel like Bandcamp kind of took that over. Yeah. I don't know what will be the next thing, but
I really like Bandcamp. I like their app. I like when you buy the music, you just own it. You open the app. You want to listen to your music. It's just like I use YouTube Music a lot as well for its convenience and streaming. But the Bandcamp experience is superior in my opinion.
Yeah, I've been funny with Bandcamp. But from my point of view of it now, it's a little bit tricky because they haven't done much.
Yeah, they have stayed pretty steady state, haven't they?
It's steady, which is like, that can be good, but then also, well, I mean, they've been bought and sold. Yeah. So a couple times, and it's just like, is it going to be?
It could be a point of, someone's looking at the revenue and eventually going to be like, it's not
and artists don't make much. I think what people don't realize is like when they do buy stuff off Bandcamp, like that revenue share does. When it kicks in, it's significant. Yeah, it's
nice if you can time it for a Bandcamp Friday or whatever. If that's
but
that's a nice feature.
I mean, that's the only innovation they've had in the last like.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
I don't know. I'm only indifferent because I just don't know. You're also trying to compete with streaming, and I like.
There's no stopping streaming.
No,
like as an idealist or a musician, you might be like, "Well, people want to." And it's like,
I laugh anytime I see a band being like, "I'm boycotting Spotify." It's like no one cares. Like maybe if Taylor Swift does it,
well, even Neil Young tried to do it.
He's not big enough.
No,
like that's Neil what Young. I mean. Literally, it just has to be like a pop. Yeah, like a super. The now pops, which is Taylor. Like she's got the monopoly on the industry right now.
Yeah, she's kind of at the top.
But like, which is like, I don't try to pick those battles. Like for me, it's about accessibility and like just having it for people to listen to. And like, I mean, I want to shift some stuff for myself to make it more sense or more accessible, which seems funny if you're putting stuff on streaming because you're just like, well, that's accessible. But there'll probably be the kids at some point that don't have streaming platforms, or what if they get priced out? Like it is cheap right now. I assume younger folks just like go off their parents. I don't know what that new economy is going to be of like, you know, when I mean, I remember being in my 20s and being like, your parents are still paying your phone bill? Like laughing at that. But I'm like, maybe that'll be the new, like your parents are still paying for your
Spotify
subscription. I mean, I do it. I do the premium account and I share it with my, you know, my parents and my partner have their own thing because I was like, whatever. Yeah. But
supposedly I've heard that some of the younger folks are like getting outside of the digital space. Like they're not on Instagram. They're like, yeah, it's come around. It's gone full circle where they don't want to be tracked or have their whole lives put online. I have no idea if that's true or not, because I don't. Yeah.
I think it is. So yeah, I don't know. I don't have any real firsthand. Like I work with, because I had a period where I was working at Interaction. So I was working with teens, and I was trying to get a vibe of like what, and I've helped out. I've done talks with like St. John Rock Camp and things like that, where I usually try to get a vibe, be like, how are you taking in music? Or like, what's the vibe? And it's funny because a topic that came up that I never thought of, and like, I mean, conspiracy theorists will get into like surveillance states and things like that. And what's interesting to notice is that it's not like government surveillance, it's like peer surveillance. So like they're getting anxious about like I remember there might have been someone with a camcorder when I was younger, for sure. So there might be tapes with like some like poorly aged behavior or whatever on a tape, but now it's like it's on a phone. And I think that I've heard of some kids that like are more anxious about performing or putting themselves out. It's a lot scarier. Because you can be the butt of a joke a lot easier. And it's like, that's the social stuff that I never thought about. I mean, for me, it was like a cell phone could not take a video. Like when I was in those early years. So I think that may have I don't know. It's all speculation. I'm not a kid. Like, I don't know. I just want to see them play and have like spaces where they feel comfortable performing, and the places I've worked at, if that's what they're for. But I don't know what I don't see bands. Like I don't see as many. I mean, there aren't many bands on a lot of things now.
Well, that's kind of one of the debates. Like the rock and roll band thing is just gone. Like there's like, where are the big rock bands that are influencing the younger generation? I
mean, I kind of had that feeling. I didn't watch the Grammys. I'm not really crazy about competitions.
I didn't watch either.
But then you see the list of winners, and you're like,
well, didn't like the Rolling Stones win?
I mean, in the rock genres, it's the Beatles and the Stones.
Yeah. But it's like, I think Rick Beato, his YouTube channel, he talked about it actually. He was like, the nominees for the best rock record were like Pearl Jam, Rolling Stones, and like some other band that was like 30 years old, or like from the 90s. And you're like, what's going on here? Like, these are the best current rock albums. Like, of course these bands are awesome, but like these are the albums that are rock albums of the year that could have been from the 90s.
No, I think it's
kind of strange.
I mean, it's no surprise to me. I work at a record store for a decade.
Oh, of course, you've seen it.
No, that's no surprise.
Yeah.
Like,
so has it shifted towards like electronic music and rap and like what?
I think it's more based on the individual.
Based on the individual.
Like, you're looking for individuals. Like, if you look at like who won, it's like they're all solo artists. Like, it's more based on like, it's not like a band dynamic that you're hearing. You're hearing a producer, like, the big stars are like, it's one artist, and then they have like producer. They still have a team. It is like a band. Like, I still think the way a lot of modern pop music is still like, there's a team. But it's like, but when you see it as a kid, you're going, well, why would you start a band when a lot of the people you're seeing today, it's like, they're not. The reason why you started a band at a period is because you saw bands. I started a band because I saw bands. Like, it's that simple. I think, like, I don't, if I think maybe you'll see more kids that do the bedroom recording thing. Like, that'll be the
interesting.
Maybe, I don't know.
And they can put together their whole band by themselves in their room, at least on the recording. Because of the quality of the tech. Interesting.
I mean, that might be. I don't know. I don't know what trends are gonna. I don't know how things are gonna be. It's like super speculation. But I noticed that. If you don't see like, I think they'll always, and I feel like I work around those kids, like the ones that are like, they're just interested and they deep dive and they find out about all these things. They contextualize the music they're listening to, and then they're like, oh, I like this type of thing, or like, those are music fans though. Like, that's different than like the average listener. I think they're waiting for music to come to them. Like a music fan will go,
hunt it out, hunt it down.
I'm diving in.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll be influenced. I was talking about this with someone else where like that was one thing that's been lost with the digital stream or like digital distribution is like if you could hold the artwork in your hand, like of course you get the artwork, whatever, but you'd also have the credits more easily available.
So that was a thing that I noticed on the platform I use. They started asking for that.
The credits?
I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So like, and that should...
It should have always.
It's so funny because like audio, you think like that's not a big file. Mm-hmm. Like we could attach so much information to that file, and then like you have your like you're listening to, and like you see the artwork, scroll through. This is the person that played on it. Like this is the person singing right now. Mm-hmm. Like when you'd look at old albums, that would be. The case, unless it's like Milli Vanilli, because then they're lying. But like,
but they still have a producer and an engineer who probably worked on a bunch of wicked projects. Like I remember, like you'd find out, like I don't know, you'd be looking at an engineer like Brendan O'Brien, and then back in the day when I was listening to music, then you're like, oh, Brendan O'Brien, okay, Chili Peppers, Incubus, goes on and on and on, and you're like, okay, what else is this? Pretty much whatever this guy's worked on, I'm going to at least listen to.
Yeah,
and that might not happen now on digital releases because credits just.
I mean, Again, these are probably things like for music fans. So technically, you'll find it. You will find out. You can still find. You can still find that information, but it should be. I would say it should be like a lot easier to
split the difference, maybe.
Yeah, but I don't know. Digital is not as exciting. Like I don't find, but I'm not a great example of it because I'm still listening to records. Mm-hmm. So like. When I'm in my studio space, it's like I don't even have Wi-Fi in my space. It's like when I have to do stuff, I'm hotspotting off my phone. So generally, I'm just like I'm throwing records on. And I like that because it kind of takes me out of the Spotify or whatever. It's
the shuffle mode.
I don't even do that though. Like it's funny for me. It's really hard because I'm so used to a music collection. So I'll go through and it's like, oh, I'll dig out this album, and then I'll get, and then that might lead to this band or. Kind of like the rabbit hole like you were talking about with the producer, but it might be like for me now it's like a feeling of like an era where it's like, oh, this band's reminding me, oh yeah, and then this and then move on. But with Spotify, because I don't do playlists. Mm-hmm. Like I will for the only scenario where I'm looking for playlists is when I'm doing sound at Haven. Okay. Because I'm like, well,
to fit the vibe.
Yeah, let's like fit a vibe of whatever's happening in the room.
Mm-hmm. Do you have albums that you go to by the season? Like, for example, like in like the winter, I really like Death Cab for Cutie's Narrow Stairs record. But in the summer, I'll crank like I Mother Earth, Scenery and Fish. I don't know what it is. It's just
I mean, my Christmas album is Purple Mountains.
Purple Mountains? By who's that by?
That's the band.
Or is that the band? Okay. No, I've never heard of them. Why? Is it Christmas songs or it just feels like that?
It's very depressing.
Okay.
It just ended up being my like
Christmas. It's an anti-cheer.
I don't like Christmas. I work retail.
Oh, okay.
I'm not.
The Christmas.
I'm not.
The Christmas magic is.
Oh man, you know what? Like I play like I like a lot of weird bands and noise rock and all that stuff, and I know people will be like, "Oh, that's assaulting to my ears." Like Christmas music for me is that. Like I actually genuinely think it is. It's like so overproduced. It's so like vanilla. It's so boring. I mean, I like vanilla, but like I don't like whatever that is. And,
not even Bad Religion's Christmas.
Doesn't matter. Punk. Oh, the punk rock Christmas.
Yeah.
Oh my, it's worse because it's the same. It's that same. It's just the punk rock band, but they throw Jingle Bells at the start. Like everyone.
Yeah.
Maybe not everyone, but like. No, I don't generally get into the. No, I'm not a seasonal listener. Okay. Like even that saying, did I listen to that Purple Mountains record last December? Like no, probably not. I thought about it maybe, but no, I'm pretty bad for. I'll just like fixate on certain bands. Maybe I'll do a deep dive or going off recommendations. I like it. My favorite way to get music is through like. Someone's like, oh, like I heard this band and I thought of you, and like then I'll go check it out. I have more of a reason than like something being like the algorithm says that X amount of people that listen to this band also listen to this band, so you should listen to this band.
That used to be one of my favorite reasons for meeting a new person and like interacting with them on a continuous basis is to get music recommendations.
Yeah.
Because when someone pitches you a band that they really care about or an album that they just think is really amazing, it kind of like gives you I just found myself listening to it for the first time differently than if I just stumbled across an album.
Yeah, it's really hard. I mean, I used to do that. I mean, you're at a radio station. It's like when you just go like, you listen to what, like a couple seconds of a band to see if you dig it.
Yeah,
that's a really hard ask.
It's
on your brain to be like, I'm gonna like make this band my life now. It's like, no.
Yeah, it's really hard.
It's probably not gonna happen.
20, 30 emails a day, just like, hey, listen to my music. You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There have been a few though that right from the click, right from play, I'm just like, something's here. Like,
yeah, that you get a vibe. Oh yeah, I've done it because I used to do that with the record store. It was like, what to bring in.
Yeah.
I wasn't looking at charts. It was like, well, who's in the band? What's going on? Like, what's the scene? Like,
what's the feeling, really? Right? Yeah, it's kind of a feeling.
And like, do I? For me, like working at a record store, it was like, do I know people that will like this? And then half of the time, I'd be like, either I'd be like straight up recommend it, or it'd be like when they're in, I'll throw it on,
see what happens,
see if they react,
and watch them go around the store and see if they
what's this, and then usually you had them, but like that's fun. But that's just me trying to relate to people. That's like, I mean, it's just a different extension of, that's what's cool about music, I think.
Yeah.
Because like I got into bands that I'd never thought I would get into. Because like one of them I got into, and someone that I really appreciate their taste is Adam Kierstead, who's like been a lifelong St. John music person. But every time he gives me a recommendation, I'm just like, there's something that clicks. Because like there's some music I didn't think I would like, but then he's found the way. Or like they used to do cover sets, and I remember his band, they were doing Mission of Burma.
Okay.
And then he asked me to be a part of it because he's like, this band live, they would use like tape. They had someone working tape loops.
Cool.
So I had a Space Echo. So I was just like, I'm just going to like manipulate it, and like, I'm going to use the soundboard and find things to send to it and just like make chaos. Like that's kind of the band's vibe. That's what they did.
Okay.
And then I'm like, oh, this band's really cool. And then, there's a new band. And I'm like, where are they from? And then you find bands that relate to them, or,
I kind of like, sometimes I like separating the band from the album. And like I used Death Cab for Cutie as an example earlier, Narrow Stairs.
Yeah.
And like I found that album when I was like fully into metal. So I had some metal buddies who'd be like, Death Cab for Cutie, get out. But to me, it was like, and I don't listen to any of their other records. I was like, I don't really care who the band is. Like, this album is just great.
Yeah.
And like, and I would think the same thing about the Flaming Lips. Like, they're kind of a band people get absolutely obsessed with. But their album, like The Soft Bulletin, to me was just like, I don't even really care who made the record at that point. Like, I don't listen to any of the other records, but someone made this piece of art that's just hitting me in all the right places,
Yeah.
So I find that interesting that some people might write it off just because of the creator of the music, the band.
Yeah.
Whereas like sometimes the album is just like the album. Who cares who wrote it, really?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, you're talking about, especially with Flaming Lips, it's like very like their 90s stuff into that record is so different.
Quite different.
It might as well be a different band.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the artists are like that though. So
yeah, some artists change it up.
I mean, do you find it's interesting coming out of like, especially metal? I feel like metal, like, that scene gets so specific. Where I have such a hard time keeping up with. It's like, it's a genre, and then the subgenres, like,
it feel like, so my main, like right out of high school, or right in high school, I kind of got into like new metal, punk, metalcore, then heavier metal. And it did feel very like judgy or whatever. Like people were very specific about like, oh, you're listening to this band, so you must suck now completely. Like you must just suck as a person. I'm like, okay, like but I don't know if it's like that with every genre, but I just stopped caring about that, I guess. But
I don't know. I feel like that's probably just like being a kid too, or being younger. I feel like that's what you do. You put your walls up, and you're just like.
That's kind of, and maybe it's a music fan too, because I was always the guy in my group like, okay, I might be listening to like Between the Buried and Me, but then also I do have like a Tegan and Sarah record that when no one's around I'll put it on. So it might just be one of those like music fans versus people who identify with a group or community, which nothing wrong with that, but do you know what I mean? Like,
in that broader sense, like Yeah, because I think I remember reading a thing that was like, it put fear in me, and like during the pandemic I hit 30, so it was about like how your general tastes kind of don't get you stop challenging yourself, and you just like, you hit 30 and you just go, this is it for me. And I was like, that concept genuinely scared me.
Did people tell you that it should be like, it was going to be that way, or you just...
No, I read this thing that was like, this is how the brain works with like, and I don't think it's how the brain works. I'm also like, I'm having this fear, and the person that I'm working for is, you know, in their 60s, and like, have you heard this? But like, I'm like, well, that's not a fact then, but it is like a mind. I think what it is more about stages of life. If you're going to like really like work on that part of how society works, then it falls into that. So I was worried about that. So I had this like, but I get it. People get tired. You get tired. You don't have the energy. Like when you're younger, you just have the energy to like mentally and physically. Like it's not just like what you're physically capable of. I think when you get older, it's just like, like, what do I have the capacity for? Can I handle more bands? Yeah. Like there's already so much knowledge. There's so much, like, especially if you're a music fan, you're trying to take all this in and remember the names and who plays on what, and you're collecting, and your tastes change or they open up certain ways. So like, I think for some folks, it's just like, I'm good. Like, I'm happy. They tap out. Like, I'm good.
I can kind of relate because I have some buddies who are still into movies and like hunting down like visual media, like TV shows. Yeah. And like really over the last 5 years, like I'm kind of at that point for movies and TV. Like if I'm going to throw on TV, it's going to just be something that is familiar and makes me feel good. Yeah. Whereas I'm not that way with music. I'll gladly I'm just now getting into like hip hop and stuff for the first time. Yeah. And so I can get how people would become that way, where, you know, you're just like, I'm putting this into my brain because I want to feel comfortable and like nostalgic a little bit, but just feel safe and comfort and not waste time.
I mean, it probably speaks to like another, and maybe that's a part of it too that keeps my brain super active, is that I'm still very much like keeping that creative section of it going. I'm not stopped. Like
with your own personal
creativity. I haven't, my own personal projects are still going. Like I still get inspired by like the younger musicians that are around. I'm not like
you're not like looking down on them being like,
no, I'm like, this is awesome. Like I go, I gotta write more, or I gotta do, you know, it's like inspiring. And so I think maybe it's because that part is still super engaged. Because I think nostalgia is like, it's a warm blanket.
It's pretty comfy to get into.
And things get harder. Yeah. And like things get harder as you get older to do. So sculpting the time for it. But I'm really big into like sculpting that time, like dedicating time.
Giving yourself time.
And I've had it like, I mean, even from the studio angle, I've had certain artists where I feel like I'm the advocate for their art, where they're looking to book time and they're like, I want to book a weeknight. And you're like, yeah, we can do that. I was like, but your art deserves a little bit more. Like, why not book? Why don't we do first thing in the day? We're doing this. Yeah. Or like anytime I have an opportunity to record a band and like we do a mobile and go somewhere, I'm like, let's do it. Yeah. Because like the Gravel Taste was like that. I recorded Constant Greetings that way. And it was like, everybody, we're all like, this is life right now. Is doing this thing is everybody's everything in that moment. Yeah. And you're not like,
you didn't just work all day, went home, had supper, and now you're coming to the studio.
Yes. It's tough. That's a lot harder. Yeah. I'm tired. Like everyone's tired. Everyone's more tired. And like, I feel like sometimes you owe yourself, you owe your art, you owe your creativity more time.
Yeah. Especially if you put all the work into birthing the creative idea anyway, and now you're trying to capture it.
Yeah. Yeah. And like put that work in. Like, and I know it's like scheduling. It's, sometimes I think it's just for like the initial setup of recording a song, and that's like in a band context, I guess, because then everyone's there physically. Yeah, that can be, camaraderie is great. Like the Gravel Tapes Music Club project like really opened my mind to that, because like, I mean, I'm not a full-time anything. Like I've worked part-time jobs, I've like been, you know, small business owner, working for people, playing music, like having to do everything. And the Gravel was like the first time going and being like, oh, this is this is all we have to do.
Yeah. Locked away somewhere.
And like in that scenario too, it's like the whole project is like there's someone catering.
Yeah. Like food.
I don't even need to like think about food.
Yeah.
Like it's just there. Yeah. You're like, oh, cool.
Nice.
So like that's the only thing. And it was like, it's pretty interesting. And I got to do it from a performer side. I did the Gravel project. And then I've recorded the last two. And it's watching artists do that. Because a lot of the artists we're working with are like, they're not afforded that time. Mm-hmm. It kind of made me think like, I know everyone was into like the Beatles Get Back. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm a Beatles fan, but like that 8-hour thing. And the biggest thing I took from that, and like, I know some people like go like, oh, look at the genius of the Beatles.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, in my brain, I'm like, look at how much time they have to create. Isn't that so cool?
Yeah.
That dumb idea came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It didn't come out of nowhere, really. You watch them just figure it out.
Yeah.
Because that's all they had to do that day.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like lightning. Mm-hmm. You watch them work through it. And I thought that was so cool to see that process. And I was like, I wonder what most folks think of that documentary or that mindset. Because I was like, oh, this is like, it's really validating for a creative to have that time allotted. Mm-hmm. And like, I really value it now. I mean, we don't all get it, but it's like, it's pretty awesome to see that, like, oh, that's very important. Mm-hmm. Like, you just have that time. And then working with people, it was like really neat to capture, you know, things in moments.
Like unexpected moments?
Yeah, like I remember there was one specific moment in the Gravel project with Palmer and Keeper E. Palmer, we were like, we worked all day. Like, we're talking like, I mean, not like crazy early, but I think we would have started like 9 or 10. I remember being like, I'm settled in. We're like, you know, have some coffee. Like, whoever's good to go, like I'm good to work on stuff. And a lot of that, if it was a band, they were rehearsing. But Keeper E is an electronic artist. And then Palmer, they had Charles with them on this run. So it was like, you know, you have a viola, a cello, and then someone that's working like synth and manipulating things that way. And we did a whole day. And then I remember Mark and Emily and Palmer were just like working on this idea. I was like, oh, that's really cool. And it was just like, hit record. Cool. And then it's like, that's what you hear on the record. Like, you actually hear the inception of like, because then we got talking about, it's like, what if we did, and we'll tag this on the intro. This song did come out of like, it was one little inkling of an idea that like molded. And we were all like,
feeling it.
Everyone knew. It was like, well, just do it.
Yeah.
Like, it was supposed to be our time. Like, usually what we do, we kind of do the 9 to... It was a big hangout. Like, and mind you, like, Peter's there, Abby's there, Sid's there. Like, was Neil Bonner there? I don't know. Either way, we had, like, a crew, Chris Jow. Like, there was a lot of camaraderie because we're all hanging out. Yeah. Like, there's the artist, there's me capturing it, and, like, but, like, we're all, like, in the industry.
Yeah.
In the capacity we're in, all, you know, struggling creatives or admin folks or, you know, facilitators. But yeah, that would have been that time to kind of chill out, but it just felt right. And it's like, you know, it's one of those days like, yeah, we probably put a 14-15 hour a day.
Yeah.
But no, it didn't feel wrong. It didn't feel exploitative. Like,
and you got to witness the birth of an idea that just
it's literally on release. Like, it made it, which is like really, really neat. Like, so yeah, I don't know. That whole experience really made me kind of gravitate towards, like, I try to carry that in, which is hard. Like, you know, I have a studio space and like everyone has their schedule to work around. So I end up working a lot of my schedule is messed.
All over the place.
Well, like, I mean, I try to have Sundays as a day of doing nothing, but I can't say no to an artist where like they work all week. Sundays, they're one day. It's like, okay, let's do it. Let's do it. Because it, like I said, because if I'm preaching this thing where I'm like, you got to give your art more, it's like, well, if Sunday's the one day everyone has off, it's like,
got to do
let's do the, you know, 10 8-hour day and just go, you know, start to finish.
And kind of what you mentioned earlier is like, it is a hospitality gig in some way, running a studio.
Oh, I think it is from a lot of angles. It's like, I want people to feel comfortable. like I play music, I get it, especially like live sound. Like I've been in this scenario where it's like you show up and you get some weird microaggressions from like a sound tech, and then you feel awful and you don't feel good about being there, and it just feels icky, and you're just like, all right, well, we'll get through it. And I try to be accommodating at Haven. I'm very attentive for like the artists and what's going on, trying to make sure they're comfortable. Usually I ask, are you comfortable? And yeah, like, I mean, that I think is what's going to make you good in the industry. I know like music industry stuff is kind of tricky because it's more reputation based. Yeah. And like the only reputation I have so far, I'm hoping, is just like pleasant to work with. Yeah. I don't have like a Grammy, you know, so I can't be going off of that stuff. But I'm hoping that, yeah. I mean, leading with like empathy and compassion, I think, is my business kind of like.
Well, being an artist is very vulnerable, so it makes total sense like that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's where reputation and being someone to work with who's calm and collective and supportive, and
I mean, recording vocals is probably one of the most intimate things you can do. And like, you don't, sometimes I'm like, I might be going into a session, it's just like, just like a normal day for me, but then realizing, that person, it's like, sometimes they you know, some people aren't as like, they're more passive with their lyrics, and they're like, for them it's just like a fun thing, and some people it's like, it's a grueling experience, and like they're gonna feel whatever they're gonna feel, and like trying to make sure that that's all, you know, cozy, and like making sure they're not feeling awkward, or like, you know, I'm not gonna throw my ego around about whatever, like
recording vocals especially, that's it's like an interesting experience.
I couldn't imagine like someone doing something and then being like, but can you do it better this time? It's like, you know, how'd you feel about, is the feeling right, is usually what I'm going for with a lot of folks.
More feel than whether it's quote unquote right or good.
Well, like, I mean, anything could be perfect. Like, I think some of those records are getting pretty boring, honestly. The ones that are like really like tuned up. I just like, I don't,
without having, when they tune the vocals and you know they're singing in key, but they just tune them anyway to get that tone, drives me bonkers.
Yeah, I didn't think, I mean, it's funny. Well, this is even a weird recording aspect thing that I've a trend that's been happening because of a generation growing up with autotune, hearing it. Yeah. They sing like that now. They hold notes super straight and flat.
Yeah, wow. Yeah,
and it's it's a trend, but it's a byproduct of which,
your ears
obviously makes sense. If that's what you grew up hearing, you're going to try to emulate the thing you heard. Yeah. I'm like, that's very interesting. Yeah. And I'm not opposed to like, to tuning or like making a performance good. Like I'm not
it's a tool.
Yeah, like, I mean, I know a lot of people like romanticize the tape period. Yeah. You know, like they did a lot of stuff back on the tape. Like you can do more with I mean, it takes forever. I mean, I have my experience working with tape, but like I like how I get to use it. Not I couldn't afford to be a studio and do the full tape thing.
Well, back then, like the tape, when, you know, peak tape, there'd be like a tape op, and that'd be like their whole job.
Yes.
So, you know.
Yeah, for me, it's like I have to, I mean, like a recording, even loosely, like even saying I'm a recording is like, to me, still kind of funny. Because like I didn't work in any commercial spaces. Like I taught Pro Tools at a space that I got trained at, and it was a commercial studio, technically. But it wasn't like, you know, bumping with clients. So like I had to look at it. I was coming in at being like, and I've talked to some of the older people, and they're pretty like, you know, that doesn't make money anymore. And I'm like, I'm not going to say it doesn't make money, because I make money, but it's not solely just doing that. No, like I have to do live sound. I have to do whatever else. I have to like hustle, try to get grants, or try to be a part of projects that are bigger than, you know, I do mentorships. It's like, I got to do everything. Yeah. But
you still get to be involved in the industry, which...
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, I remember hearing an interview with Questlove talking about doing a pile of things. I'm like, well, if you, someone like that, at that stage in their career, as famous as they are, is like hustling, I'm like, well, That's
just part of the game.
This is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope he keeps making music documentaries because they're awesome. But yeah, it's kind of just par for the course, and a lot of any of the kids I've mentored, that's been like, it's a pretty important topic, I think, anyway. Like, I don't think there's just one thing. I think the next generation's already used to seeing, I mean, Gen Z must be used to seeing millennials work like more than one job. So
yeah, you're right.
It's like, and some of the kids like younger folk that I've worked with, it's like they look at music as an extension of their hustle, which I was like, to me, that's amazing. Like, they're acknowledging that it's going to have a cost, and they're learning how to run a business, you know, when they're a teenager, which I think is,
it's a great time to be learning those things.
Yeah.
You'll carry that through your whole life. I mean, you know.
Yeah. Oh man. Like playing music, or like, I mean, I didn't plan any of the things that happened for me, but it's like, oh, I learned so much. And it's like the common denominator is like just wanting to, you know, play music. Like is just that is simply that. Yeah. There's no like, I wasn't like influenced by like something else. It was just like, that was the drive to like learn the thing. It's like, all right, I gotta learn how to budget it.
Yeah. Make it work.
Yeah.
And it's fun. Like, I just turned 40, so I'm like feeling pretty like middle-aged. And but there's still sometimes I'll run into people who I was tight with when I was in my early 20s, because we would play shows like wherever, or we were playing across the country somewhere. And you like run into those people, even if you just cross paths online or something, you're like, it's like no time has gone by.
Yeah.
Like the relationships you form in those situations are like, I don't know, pretty fascinating to me. But
yeah, I do miss that a bit. I haven't gigged out as much, and that used to be a big part. You see the people you travel with.
Exactly. Yeah, you kind of go around and meet all your buddies again. Yeah.
Yeah, when you see them, it is like a long lost friend.
Yeah.
And it's funny because we haven't been keeping up.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's not like we don't like each other. It's just like we're in our own bubbles, and then every now and then we get to hop between. These are like music scenes. And, yeah. And then, well, I mean, that's what they are. They're small communities.
Small communities, like, for sure.
But yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I mean, it was wild. Even when I was in Germany, we played a show. It was like, the world is too small sometimes, where it was like, we're there, we're playing a show in Cologne, and a guy shows up, and he's like, I lived in St. John. I was like, yeah? And he's like, he would talk about some spaces, and I was like, oh. I was like, oh, you know Judd? Oh, you know Pierre? Oh, you were part of, you probably saw my high school band. Like, yeah. Like, it's just, what?
That's fun. We were both in the same venue at the same time. Yeah. Yeah.
So that was like really, really cool. I mean, yeah. I mean, if you get into Canadian music, it's like,
it's pretty small, tight.
I mean, I've worked with my idol. Like, I played with Julie Laurent. Like, I feel like, it's just like, what? If you told teenage me that would happen, no, that's not possible.
Yeah, that will never happen. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, it's just like, I don't know. I think it's cool and pretty, I don't know. I'm pretty grateful for whatever I've sculpted, whatever I have, and whoever I know.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, that's an awesome journey. It's worth, if you got the vibe, if you got the drive, just go for it.
Yeah.
Don't let others tell you not to.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, I didn't have many people telling me not to do a thing. So, I mean, just having a bad idea doesn't mean don't do the bad idea. I still think you can try it.
Sometimes you gotta get the bad ideas out of the way.
Oh, running a music festival is like, that's all it is. It's just a big list of bad ideas.
Big list. That's funny.
I mean, running a business.
Yeah.
Oh my. It's like, I mean, I have a lot of friends like, well, even that, like running the business, like I had, it's been like an amazing resource to see, like I had a point where I had a weird bottleneck experience, because I'm recording, I'm living with a bandmate, I'm recording out of the house, so my overhead's super low, but I still couldn't afford, I was doing sessions and my computer's starting to bug. Okay. And it's like, this interface, I should probably get something better. And then I was like, oh, this is like a $10,000 thing. Go to my bank, they're like, no, you're not getting that. And it was like, and then someone was like, oh, you should try get like an impact loan from the city. And I'm like, what's that? And I look into it, and it's like, I got it. And I'm like, oh, this is amazing. And then I, sort of met like a network of folks that were like super encouraging of people doing stuff like that. And so I was like, okay, cool. So I do it. I mean, a lot of people probably wouldn't remember this, but during Quality Block, we had some shows at it was a wood lab, and it was Tim that really helped me because he was running. What was the name? It was a wood lab, but it's gonna bug me that I'm forgetting this. But we would have shows at Quality Block. He was so into it. Like, we had bands play on a table saw. Like, the stage was the table saw.
Wow.
And he expanded it. And I'm like, that's cool. Those moments where you're just like, what? Like, one of the most memorable shows was Motherhood backing up Owen Steele.
Cool. Oh, that's his band. Yeah.
And it was like, whoa. It's just like magical moments where you're just like, this is awesome.
That's cool.
In such a weird space.
Oh, I would love to hear that.
And then I played... Gavin and I backed up Julie Durand. So I drummed and Gavin Downs was playing bass. Yeah. And we played with Julie Durand.
Yeah.
Like, that was awesome.
That's amazing.
That was in that space too. But Tim was like, he was someone that he used to run, like, I think he worked at Moosehead, and he was like, man, like, could run it. Like, he knows how to run, starts business. Like, that was him starting a business. Like, so he's how I got a sense of like doing business, writing a business plan. Okay. He was like, here you go.
Yeah.
Here's my business plan. Like, here's a rock solid business plan. Learn. Yeah. And then I looked at it, and I went and I ended up getting this loan from doing that, and even seeing this, the how that's trickled out. It's just like a lot of my friends, like my partner ran a store, and they accessed the same loan, and it turned into this thing. I have all these cool friends around me, like with creative endeavors, and they're doing these startups and doing this thing, and the Haven be an extension of that. It's just cool to see this like thing really, really trickle out.
Yeah.
And yeah, all because of wanting to play in a band.
Cool. In a nice organic, creative way. That's awesome. Man, so fascinating. Well, I think that's a great place to leave it. I mean, it's nice to have a community. Like, see, St. John's New Brunswick in general, East Coast is a little segregated, or whatever the right word is, like little cut off and tiny, small communities, but it seems so supportive and so fat and interesting, you know? It's I don't know, it seems like a pretty good time to be here.
Yeah, I think per capita, it punches above its weight creativity.
Yeah, I think so.
The creative wise, it's like, it doesn't make sense, because touring, especially going to Ontario and coming back, being like, it's funny, touring I thought might make it so like, screw that city that I grew up, like, because I'm from here. I never got that sense of like moving away. Like, I'm born and raised here. But every time I would go away, I'd come back, and I wouldn't feel icky from it. I was just like, no, what we have is like, it's all, it's pretty all right. Like, because we've been other places where population wise it should have felt a little bit more vibrant, and like going back, it wasn't like I'm just like taste testing one place that we had bad shows at and being like, oh, it sucked.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was bad in those places, but it was just interesting to think of like, when you go through, because when you go to Ontario, you see the like population, and I'm like, St. John's, like, greater area, we're maybe lucky to get the smallest population of an Ontario, like, other than a village. But like, when you're going through the cities, like, you're like, wait, 250,000 in this place?
Yeah. Well, you're like Peterborough, and that's like a small little town in Ontario.
Yeah, so it was interesting to get that, but I don't know if it's just like pure will. I don't know. Well, bands that come out here too, I mean, you definitely have experienced it. Like, the bands that do come back and return, like, even if the shows are smaller, they love it out here, it seems. Like, there's a lot of touring bands that have good experiences out here. Yeah.
East Coast in general.
Yeah, I think so. Like, as long as I don't know what it's like playing now for some of those bands. It's definitely like mellowed out, I'll say. But I think that's just dealing with like post-pandemic world economics just kind of being tougher.
Yep.
But yeah.
Cool.
I don't know.
Well, I'd love to pick your brain sometime about like the creative side of engineering, because I was hoping to touch on that, but we've been chatting for like an hour and 20 minutes almost, which is solid. I can't believe actually time flies. Yeah. So maybe I'll have to convince you to come back out again and we can talk.
Engineering specific.
Yeah, I'll get nerdy. Start talking about impedance and stuff.
Stuff that nobody wants to hear. The things that are terrible for radio.
Yeah, that would be fun. Well, whatever. I just do it for me anyways. Awesome. Thanks a lot, Corey.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's do some plugs here, of course. So Monopolized Records, what's your preferred way for people to reach out and interact with you, or just discover anything you're working on?
Oh, I don't mind answering, any email.
You'd rather them email you? Like, I mean, obviously you must have social media.
People can, message me on social media. I'm really bad for certain, like Facebook, I'm barely on there. I use Facebook for Marketplace specifically.
Yeah.
But no, Instagram I'm pretty active on, but email works. Yeah. I have a website that's coming out in like 3 stages. So first stage will be like Studio One. That will be out soon. So that'll be able to answer some questions people generally have, where it's just like rates and stuff like that.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I don't mind getting messages just through social media or my Gmail. That's all good by me.
Very cool. Awesome. Well, thanks again for coming by.
Yeah, thank you.